Oh my goodness. Good morning, everybody. Happy pre Friday. Breaking news: Chet Holmgren will miss the entire season. In fact, so breaking, I'm actually getting ready to put it in the title. Had a great show planned. Um, Dang, that's just horrible. My bad. Hey, welcome. Happy Thursday. Your pre Friday. The Connecticut Sun beat the Dallas Wings. Pat Bev, possibly on his way to be a Laker. And the breaking news that just came out: Chet Holmgren out for season. Um, man. All right. Hey, request the mic. Come on up. Let's get into it. It's not going to be a formal, big show. We'll get a little bit, a little bit more busy in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to enjoy as much downtime as possible, getting ready to start season 2 of Hoop Spaces. All right. Man, I actually have to message somebody about this too. So I'm going to be back in about 30 seconds. Good morning. All right. Good morning. I'm 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 kind of at a loss. Normally, we wouldn't have this disjointed of an opening. Thoughts and well wishes to Chet Holmgren, about to be out for the entirety of the season after tearing a ligament in his foot. News about the Lakers going after Pat Bev, trading THT, waiting to see what else goes through here. Apparently, it's THT and Stanley Johnson. And if you are a Lakers fan, I want you to know that I don't feel sorry for you. In fact, I'm laughing because you chose THT over Alex Caruso, and now you're trading him and Stanley Johnson for Pat Bev. I mean, what an amazing turn of events. We have that. Then we also have to answer the question, apparently, the over and under for missed shots by Lakers guards, because that's what I keep getting DM'd. And then we also have the WNBA. With the Suns and Wings last night. Jeff is already up here, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate that. That's Jeff Quinn. If you want a mic, go ahead and request it. If not, there is a chat box down below. Jeff, I'll let you get a quick minute off saying good morning, but we're going to open up with the Sun and the Wings game. Go ahead.
Uh, Good morning, everybody from Thailand. Hope y'all had a good sleep. I'm excited about all these developments for the Lakers. It sucks for Chet, but did we were talking about the Suns and Wings first, or the Lakers stuff? I didn't think it was. I didn't know it was going to be an order to it.
Yeah, we open up with the W, so we're going to do the Sun and Wings first.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll let somebody else go because I didn't watch.
All right, no problem. Good morning down there to Jada. It's good to see you. Bleacher Dave, professional fan, is in the building. Rico Suave, Sage, Danny D's about to come up. We also have a couple other W fans like Just 30 and Dubs, Yankees, Brandon, Mike. It's great to see y'all. If y'all want to hop up here so we can have a quick talk. Good morning, Danny. How you doing?
Oh, good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody in Hoop Spaces. I enjoyed the game last night. I was pushing for Dallas only because they once were the Detroit Shock, my old Detroit team. But they played good in the first half. It was a messy fight, and it's somewhere in there they lost. I don't know if they panicked or something happened in between there where you could say Connecticut's experience showed up because they didn't play their best game either. So I feel bad for Isabel Harrison when she got hurt. But they played. They had a great season. Um, Vicky Johnson's job is safe, but Vicky gonna have to do some self reflection and figure out what she want to do with that team, and how she plays her players and when she rotates them out. Um, it definitely maybe work over the summer with McCowan and teach her how to post up because she's not used to posting up. I could tell she's still think like she played at Mississippi State, where they just threw the ball at her, or she just rebounded and get it, so she can get some post moves like Brianna Jones. So, but all in all, like I said, it was a good game. Dallas fought hard till the very end, and good season. I can't wait to that next series. I know Chicago Sky fans are probably pulling for Dallas because they didn't really want to play Connecticut, but
They won't admit that. They won't
they
admit
want
that.
to admit that. They'll sit there and say, "Oh yeah, we gonna do good." They didn't want to play hard and fight to get to the finals, but now guess what? They got to play hard because that team is mean. I try to tell you, they need some Mucilex on that Connecticut Suns team because they be angry at each other and get mad at each other. I'm like, oh okay, y'all be
But
fighting in the locker room before y'all come out.
so normally, I have an anti Notre Dame bias, right? Like I am not a Notre Dame fan. It's political for me, not politics like government, but politics and how they choose to run the institution of higher learning, and then mix in sports with the academics. It's 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 really not fair what they are able to do. Same with BYU, and really pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, to Liberty University and Grand Canyon State University. They are following the route that Notre Dame and BYU have taken in terms of being religious first organizations of learning. It allows them to access money that other institutions don't have. But Rena Mabry won me over in basically the last 2 to 3 weeks, and she has this demeanor about her that is really because she's from New York. It's really New York, and I think this is her coming into her own, and I really want to see what she looks like next year as a potential starter, taking over more of the offensive responsibilities. Well, what did you see specifically in the first half from her? And then, yeah, I put a tweet out. I think it was like 4 minutes left in the third, and I think Connecticut. There's like three back to back. Not back to back. A single back to back to back defensive possessions for Connecticut, and it just shut Dallas down. And then after that, Dallas just couldn't do anything, and Connecticut just cruised through the fourth quarter to a win.
Well, I like Mabry. I liked her when she was at like you mentioned, Notre Dame, because she played with Enrique. I think they were on that team together. I think, yeah, my memory is bad right now, but it's in the morning. So, yeah, so she's a great player. She plays with, you can see there's a lot of potential, a lot of growth. Because I used to think of her as just a spot up shooter when she was at Notre Dame, but she knows how to get to that hole. And I'm not saying Lindsay Whalen like. Yes, I am. She's kind of reminding me of Lizzie Whalen. She could go down there and take a hit and get that ball up in that hoop when she gets a lay. I'm not saying she's Lindsay Whalen. She's far from it. But she has that toughness about her. Like you said, probably because she's from New York. Um, on her side. You know what? I'll be honest. After that, the last 4 minutes in that, I didn't even stick around for that. The last minutes of the fourth quarter,
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, this is toast. I can't take it." I decided to turn to something else.
I yeah, I didn't either.
Mm.
I ended up turning over to a science channel because they were covering some black hole exploration in the
But
Sagittarius.
what they did do in defense, what I will say Connecticut did was they pushed them out and they made sure that they couldn't get in the paint. It's almost like they pushed them all the way out to the 3 point. And anytime somebody tried to get down in the paint, like Alicia Gray or stuff like that, you know what happened? They forced them to play 1-on-1. That's what they did.
And
They
then
forced them to play
they,
1-on-1, and they suckered themselves into playing 1-on-1
yeah,
instead of moving the ball. And I was like, don't do 1-on-1. That's what they want y'all to do. And
well,
they all committed to guarding their man, and that's
and,
what happened.
and then when Mabry got into the wing area, they would send a double.
Yeah,
And
they would send a double on her. Yeah.
she had 8 turnovers for that game, but like I think 6 of them came in that second half.
That's where all her turnovers came. I think what they need next year, and this is where I don't know, Vicky got to figure out what she wants to do on point guard. Either she trusts Harris.
Stuff out first.
Huh?
She needs to figure some other stuff out first. She's a mercurial coach. Let me just put it that way.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, and I'm trying to give her a chance because this is her first season
Yeah.
as a coach. I don't want to just be like, oh, get rid of her.
Oh, I'm not
Maybe,
rid of it. Like,
yeah,
no, she did some good stuff.
she did some good stuff. She just need to figure out what she wants to do as far as how she wants her offense, how to get Enrique to know not to shoot. Enrique didn't really need to shoot because she hasn't played 4 games, so her timing is off, and I don't know how good that injury is healed up for her.
You know what it is? It to me, it looks like she actually knows what she wants. She just doesn't know how to convey it, which happens to most former players who become head coaches. You know, like it happened to Jason Kidd in the NBA. It took him, a couple of stops to finally get his groove. And I think if Dallas can stay patient, I think they will have a good coach.
I agree with that. I mean, she was an assistant coach under Bill Lambier for a while, and he figured it out. So
Oh, I was about to go to JC. He
oh,
bounced.
go to JCN. I'm sorry.
He looked like he got.
Oh, okay. But I'm gonna let somebody else speak. But yeah, it's just it takes time to figure out your style and stuff like that because especially your first time. For some people, it do. Some people they get it right away. They are born to be a coach. But hopefully, she figures it out what she wants to do with that team. 'Cause she has a good team, good players on that team. Hope she keeps McCowan and maybe work with McCowan. McCowan's footwork a little bit more. And be honest, I think McCowan might need to drop 5-10 pounds, and I'll tell you why. Because it might be a little bit easier for her to move on her feet. Because she's flat footed as a mug. I know, because I'm flat footed. and,
Um,
and you, that's
but
all.
a question. I'm going to go to Ty. A
Yeah.
question that I do have for those down below. Can you grade Veronica Burton's rookie year? I can't. I haven't watched enough Wings game to figure out whether or not this was a mistake pick because she got 10-6 last night, but I don't remember ever seeing her at all at any other time that I had the TV on. You know what I mean? Like I am a casual fan, so I don't know all of them. I just know that she was the 7th pick, and I hardly saw her when the Wings were on my screen. That's what I want you to think about. We got Ty. Ty, good morning or good evening where you're at. Did you catch the Sun and Wings game?
No, I didn't. I came up here to speak about Chet, and it is technically morning. It is 12:13 a.m.
All right, I didn't. Yeah. Hey, I couldn't remember when you get the turnover. We'll go to Malika first. Come back to Chet. Malika, good morning. How are you?
How are you?
Well,
Yeah, top 4 seeds are through to the next round. I mean, when they lost Izzy, I mean, I just didn't think that. I don't know, like the game last night. I mean, yes. I mean, Danny said it all pretty much on the game last night. I feel like so. She definitely went into the details I would have covered. I watched the game after he was out of the room last night. But the top 4 seeds, like Sandy, they're doing extra interviews in the Liberty today, and Sandy noted, yeah, the top 4 seeds. That's where you want to be if in a W, traditionally, to get to the next round. And look where we are this year. So I'm looking forward to next week's games, and yeah, we got a drought right now until next week for W. So um, yeah, I just wanted to come up and also, and wait for you to get to the NBA because we have nothing going on in the W for like a week almost.
yeah, there. I'm going to say this: everybody should enjoy the break. Take a break off of Twitter because, like, unless you are a Knicks fan or a Jazz fan, or you're really into Dennis Schroeder, there isn't going to be much for like the next 5 days.
No, Sunday. Oh, not talking about NBA. No, they play Sunday.
Well, they open up the second round in Sunday, but that's
Right, yeah, Sunday. So you got today's Thursday. So I don't. Well, no, we were talking about it on
Yeah,
Monday.
they opened the second round, and then we have. I wish we could see the World Cup, because there's gonna, it's interesting. A lot of good number of players are playing. So I'm gonna look up how to stream those. But yeah, I
Uh,
hear
if,
you.
if people are wondering, it begins Friday, the 25th. That's this Friday. It ends on September 10th on a championship game. That's the FIBA World Cup. And if you go to the website, I think they actually tell you where you can, quote, pay to see it. I don't think I found a stream yet that'll have it entirety. All right. Well, Napoleon's coming on up here. What's up, Napoleon? Good morning. We had Brooklyn Netcast for a second. He popped down. Napoleon, got anything on the Sun and Wings game from yesterday?
I like the energy that that is there. You're seeing the playoff intensity. What more can you ask for? I'm interested to see. I'm just interested to see what the next step is. Because it's getting chippy. I like it.
That's kind of what happens with the playoffs.
And one more thing.
Go ahead.
You know what? Anybody who's happy right now is Kathy Engelberg. Because she didn't want what happened last year. No disrespect to the sky. I don't want no 808 to take offense to what I'm saying. But that one and done stuff kind of messed up last season for them in the essence, but didn't. Chicago won with Candace Parker, the storyline coming from LA to Chicago. It worked out the way that it was supposed to. The top four seeds, like Malika said, are in in the semifinals. 9 out of 10, you're gonna get two teams in the finals that are in the top four. Hopefully, it'll be Chicago and Aces. Like I said, it's gonna be a battle. I don't think it's gonna be easy for either team. I'm looking forward to the Sue Bird train get derailed. That's just me. Don't hate me. And looking for that story. I'm looking for the mean old Connecticut sun, trying to take the sky out and darken their skies. And looking for Asia, the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, to rise to the occasion, to raise the stakes, as they say in Vegas. That's what's gonna be interesting. But everything work out the way they supposed to. I hope so. Kathy give them private jets because she saw what happened with Connecticut. She had to give them a charter flight
Dallas? You mean
to
Dallas?
Dallas. No, they had to give both of them too, Dallas and them both, charter flights.
It's insane that they're not allowing the owners to provide a service for their team. Like that's
Hmm.
what kills me. Malika, go ahead. Napoleon, go ahead. Welcome everybody. Happy pre-Friday. We're just going over the Suns and Wings and some quick W talk, and then we'll move on to Chet on the IR. News breaking just as the show started that he will miss the entire year after having surgery for a Linus Frank cartilage tear. And like if you look at it, they're being super cautious because they could technically have the surgery and he could be back in 4 to 6 months, but they're making the predetermination to go ahead and give him the whole season. Malika, the Napoleon, welcome everybody. Good morning.
What I will say about the Aces Storm. I mean, I would love to see Aces in Chicago, but I'm not sleeping on the Storm. Like, when is De'Erica Hamby coming back? I mean, I wish 808 was up here. 'Cause I'm curious about what his perspective is. But I'm curious. This matchup is going to be interesting. Yeah, Brianna Stewart in the playoffs, and now that they're the next round, she's definitely going to be formidable, and she's going to be ready. Like, so I'm just curious of, and I don't care what they say, what some people say. She has a Jewel Lloyd, Gabby Williams, Sue Bird. I mean, she got a Tina Charles. She got a squad. Brianna Stewart. Has more than help. She has a really good team. So let's see. It's not like Asia and the team are not playing the lower seed. That's shockingly there. I think this is going to be a formidable matchup. So I'm looking forward to Aces Storm because those games can be something else. Personally, yeah.
All right, Napoleon, hop in here. We got 808s getting ready to come up. We also have Caleb, Brooklyn Netcast, Napoleon, and then we'll bring in Brooklyn Netcast and then 808s. Everybody, good morning.
Um, first off, greetings and salutations. How rude of me not to say that. I got a question, and this is more of is Liz kicking herself right now, watching the Aces get back to where they were without her? And do you think that that is part of the Aces' motivation? Is to say, everybody said we couldn't do it without you. Watch us work. And I really want to see them in the sky go at it. So those are the three questions I have.
Were
So,
people really saying it though? Go ahead, 808s.
so yeah, what's going on, Malika? Morning, everybody. What's going on? So for the first question, I think you said something about Liz kicking herself. Um, Liz Cambage is a great player when she's locked in. I mean, truly one of the better bigs we've seen in the last however many years when she has played. Um, but she's not. Maybe she is kicking herself, but I can promise you, Las Vegas is for the simple fact that they would have never unlocked this level of offense or just team chemistry in general with her on the roster. We don't see Asia MVP this season. We don't see the way she played really this entire year going into the playoffs, carrying the team on both sides of the court with Liz hogging up the paint. Let's keep it a buck. Liz is not a small center. She's 6'8", 6'9", whatever. And, that takes up a lot of space. And she doesn't have a jump shot. So the offense was stagnant. Asia was being displaced. And even though as a quote-unquote undersized five, that's really where Asia belongs, in my opinion. As far as the second question, what was it again? About that.
Um, do you think? How do I say it? The Do you think that motivated the Aces to kind of be like, hey, there's this narrative. What were we gonna do? Do you think that kind of has sparked what we've seen from them this year, going into possibly seeing a Aces Sky final?
I think yes and no, but more so to the fact that they saw last year's final and was like, we could have gave them a better fight. We probably could have won. And you take that into this season and Asia having a career year and like the way that offense is looking, they literally had 3 MVP candidates at one point in the season. And that's not trolling. That was serious. They were all balling. Some of the best players in the league were all on one team. And I think that's more so the motivation than in like last year's finals than anything. What was the third question?
The third question is, uh, if them and the Aces are getting, or if them and the Sky get back to the finals, do you think that is going the Aces will for them to make up last year, or is it more important for the Sky to repeat?
Honestly, I wouldn't say there's much maybe pressure for the Sky to repeat. Like a lot of people think they will. I mean, I think it's they have a good chance to do so. But to be fair to Las Vegas, they had the Sky's number in the last couple of meetings they've had, stemming back from the Commissioner's Cup game. They've just had these explosive first quarters and first halves where they've put the game out of reach, and then the Sky come back, and then it's close, and then it's not. So honestly, like I would say, it's more so the pressure's on Las Vegas. They've been in this situation for the last couple of years. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. But now that Jackie Young has come on the way that she has, Kelsey's came back from injury and it's been dominant since. Uh, MVP Asia. You got Becky Hamilton, the best offense in the league. And to be honest, Vegas's depth is not that big of an issue because there aren't that many teams that can punish them for it consistently. The Sky haven't been able to. They've been the best team in the league by far for the majority of the season. So I think the pressure's really on Las Vegas for this one, honestly.
Appreciate it, 808s. I kind of agree. Also because Asia is the prohibitive favorite or was the prohibitive favorite for MVP too, and that kind of adds another
I'm
sense.
sorry, you said was?
Well, apparently the media standards, yeah, was.
No, we're not. It would be a riot if Asia
Oh.
didn't win the award that she's supposed to win.
I will come on your site and cuss out everybody on this site if that happens. I will tweet Kathy Engelberg. I will write them letters. I will get in my car and drive to New York or fly to New York or whatever I need to do if that happens. And also, by the way, Chicago feels the pressure of everybody else because everybody thinks it's a fluke that they won last year.
Nobody thinks
That's
that.
what.
What?
And he being modest.
No,
He
they
you
don't.
Nobody
he
thinks
being
that.
No.
he being modest. He knows the pressure is on them to win it again. The pressure's on them because they play almost a
Well,
lesser
they are the
team than
champions.
they did,
The
and they're the
pressure's on them because they're
champions,
the
right?
champions.
I was the
And
pressure on the defending champions to
and
repeat.
because it
Man,
always a good pressure from the repeat because nobody hasn't repeated in how many
this
years.
is this
About
is
So
20
it's
plus.
pressure, right? So the pressure's on them. Stop trying to
no.
take
Danny,
away from
Danny,
Chicago's stature. They are a great team, a champion team, and don't be lessening them like that. They
As,
are a great team, and they deserve to win last year, and they deserve to win this year. The
wait,
pressure
who's
is on
lessening them
them,
though?
huh?
Who's lessening them?
The Chicago Sky fans because y'all in denial and y'all
What are
trying to
we in
play
denial about?
cool so then y'all can sit there and say, oh well, we didn't expect us to win this year. Y'all gonna
yo,
Nobody
come up
expected
with
them to win last year.
you're setting up the
our
table for them. You're
Danny.
setting up the table for them, and Chris is part of the propaganda. I
Be
will
here,
not
Danny, right
allow
now.
it.
Okay, so first, like I admit, like I'm a casual in terms of the WNBA, but like even me as a casual understands that nobody is saying that Chicago was a fluke after seeing them this year.
I'm just fucking with y'all. I just want to see how far y'all go.
You
That's
see,
all.
in the
That,
past life, Danny, I would have got
I
a
have
little
never
pissed, but
heard Malika talk like that. So
like put on purpose, 808. You hear this?
listen, you talk about a team that really retooled a championship roster and added a Mason added literally averaged 20 points in her last two playoffs appearances into this year, and then you add Rebecca Gardner, which for some people keep thinking, oh my God, James just found her in a haystack somewhere in Europe. No, she's been one of the most talented players overseas for years. She just finally got her chance in the W. It's a shame it took this long, but no, he didn't find her. Like I'm so tired of hearing that on broadcast. But Danny,
Well,
listen,
she's had her John Stark moment.
yeah,
Instead of packing groceries, she was playing over in Europe. See,
Let
she's
me
had her John Stark moment. That's
let
all.
me
Jamie, I got his hand up. Get him before
yeah,
he goes.
let me get JC on in here as he gets ready to head out the door to practice. JC on what you got, man.
Appreciate that. Shout out to the host, the speakers, and the listeners. Please follow the host. Always some quality content, and there are some speakers up here that have wonderful podcasts and other symposiums that allow you to participate. So make sure y'all hit that follow button. It costs nothing to support them. But listen, I'm a little bit upset today. Per the chat, I hope he gets better. I'm upset that folks are clamoring for NBA players to no longer play in pro-am games. And as a basketball coach in an inner city community, I think that that's whack as hell. Excuse my language. For a lot of inner city kids, the only contact that they have with these players are pro-am games. These pro-am games are free. They cannot afford the NBA games. When your favorite basketball player is coming to Seattle, because one, Seattle doesn't have an NBA basketball team anymore, and two, your favorite player by the name of LeBron James or whoever he is decides to play in a free pro-am game that you can go and see. You saw the video. People were lined up for miles just to be nearby that high school arena so that they could get a glimpse of LeBron walking in. Okay. They cannot afford the NBA game. So what DeJounte Murray, what Paulo is doing, what Chet is doing, what Braun is doing, what DeMar DeRozan, all those guys, we're asking them as coaches, please come to these lower pro-am circuits and play in front of these kids because these kids idolize you. They look up to you. And they're never going to be able to see you because the NBA tickets are so out of price. Like, have you seen a Golden State Warriors price to go to a game, or a Los Angeles Lakers or Los Angeles Clippers ticket price? That's why we love the Drew League. We love Dykeman. We love Berry Farms. We love Venice Beach. We love these pro-am games. And for people to say, take the NBA players out of it, you're now taking away the only way that some of these kids who end up becoming NBA stars in the future from getting out of their poverty situations. You're telling them that they're not worthy or they're not worth these guys coming into play. That's total bullshit. Like we understand Chet got injured, and I wish him the best of luck in his injury, and I hope that he comes back. We've been saying this since he was in college. He has to put on weight. I've used an example of what is he going to do when LeBron attacks the basket or Zion attacks the basket or whatever. And folks have been telling me to shut up left and right and this and that. But the statement holds true. The guy is too small. And now this injury, which, it is a season ending injury, and I do wish him a speedy recovery, the media is going to blow this out of proportion, and the teams are going to blow this out of proportion. And in the next CBA agreement or whatever is going on, they're going to try to force these guys to no longer play in pro-am games. What happened with the lockout? Everybody was in everybody's gym, everybody's court, up Rucker, up Dykeman, everywhere, playing basketball so that people could still watch them play. We are the fans. The fans are here to support these players, and these players want to play basketball. Taking away the pro-am games and only forcing them to play in NBA games and only allowing us to see them in an NBA setting is going to hurt their personal individual market, and it's going to hurt the brand of basketball overall. So I implore you guys, before you make any egregious hot takes about Chet should have never been in that pro-am game, ask yourself this: if it didn't happen in a pro-am game, you don't think it could have happened in preseason? You don't think it could have happened in regular season? You don't think it could have happened during a pivotal play-in game? Like, you don't like, what are we doing? I'm sorry, I'm talking a long time, but I'm gonna shut up and thank you guys for having me up here. But as a coach, I'm kind of pissed off that folks want NBA players to stop playing pro-am games.
I don't think they should play pro-am games.
I knew you.
The stake is too high right now, guys. Just being honest. NBA facilities. I'm in NBA facilities every week. I haven't been home in a month, and I'm gonna tell you flat out, the facilities are empty. They're state of the art. They have everything there, training staff, the whole nine. Guys are being employed in these facilities for no reason at all. It's hilarious to me. Like, I'm in Orlando, and one of my guys I'm training on the team. I have two guys on the team that I'm training, and they're like, "We're about to go run tonight." I'm like, "Where?" "Oh, at a little high school." "Okay, so the whole team is gonna go run at high school. Why don't y'all run here?" He's like, "I don't know." So Chet got hurt because of the moisture on the ground in that event in Seattle. So was there event insurance? Even if there was event insurance, it's not going to cover his salary. That the team is going to have to eat for a year and add in the medical expense. You have to. This is business at this point. All games are off. All bets are off when it comes to you didn't get hurt on company time. You got hurt on your own time. So if I'm an owner, I'm looking at it from both sides. If I'm an owner, yeah, you got hurt on that time. Like, that messes me up, because guys are going. They want to play in pro-ams and have these highlights. Nah, I just don't think that's it. You know what I'm saying? I think pro-am should be for those guys. If those guys are gonna get hurt, he hasn't even played an NBA game yet. People are already afraid of his frame and so forth, which his frame does scare me. It's always scared me. We've really never had guys at that height playing the way he plays be successful and have real longevity, playing outside of the paint. You know what I'm saying? So that's a fear of mine and everyone else who's involved in the game. Like, these guys should be chilling, working out with NBA teams under their supervision. If they get hurt on their time, then cool. You know what I'm saying? The NBA team can take responsibility and say, yeah, that's on us. See, I hurt at our facility, blah, blah, blah. But we've seen guys get hurt outside of NBA facilities on their own time and then receiving a paycheck, and that's going to hurt. And these owners are not going to go for it, especially when, I don't know if you guys know, when the new television deal hits in 2025, the player salaries will double from what they currently are. They will double. The budget goes from 40 plus billion to about 75 to 79 billion. So we're going to see somebody with a 5-year, $500 million contract. And at that point, do you think an NBA owner is going to go for a player playing in a pro-am, breaking his ankle, and then can't play for a year? I don't think so.
All right, real quick. They don't. They released the data for tickets prices but they don't make it easy to find. I have 2019 average ticket prices. Jeez. All right. The Lakers 473, Warriors 458, Clippers 267, 261 for the Knicks. Nets are 242, Rockets 189, Raptors 179. Like this is per ticket. So the issue is one of access. So if the owners are gonna not want them to play in the pro am on their time, that's going to have to be negotiated into the contract, right? That's why they have it set up the way they do, so that they don't have the type of fight that they're about to have in this next collective bargaining agreement. We're going to go to Brooklyn Netcast, get his thoughts. We got Ty, Malika, Joe, the historian, Napoleon, and Camber up in the wings, ready to go. Caleb, good morning. What do you have?
Well, good morning, everybody. I personally think it'll just be put into some players' contracts. I don't think there'll be no NBA players allowed to play in Pro-Am or, there's nothing at all. But I think that you'll see in some players' contracts, it'll be kind of like Patrick Mahomes in his contract. This is not allowed to play basketball. Just little things like that. So I think some star players, it might be like, okay, no Pro-Am games for you. That's going to be in the contract. And more likely than not, players will sign it if it's that big of a contract. So I think you'll see some star players, some of the younger guys, maybe like Anthony Edwards not playing in Pro-Am games. But I don't think, relatively speaking, that everybody's not going to be able to. I just think it's going to be some players, maybe some injury-prone players as well. They're like, okay, you get injured a lot during the season. We don't want you playing Pro-Am. It's in the contract. And, they can debate over it. But I think some players will be able to and some won't. And it's not the worst thing in the world, really. Protecting your team's young assets. Well, I get it that it's not perfect, but injuries like this do bring light to certain things, and you gotta think more about the NBA game than the Pro-Am game. So,
to be fair though, no, Sam Schuster from Syracuse. Nobody cares what he's doing in the summer. People care what Anthony Edwards is doing. People care what Hero's doing. This is for star players and star draft picks.
I will say this: if Cam Thomas pulled up to a Pro-Am around me, I would go instantly, or Bruce Brown even. I'd be there. So I can't say, at least for me personally, if I saw a role player come to Buffalo, nobody comes to Buffalo. If any NBA player pulled up to Buffalo, I guarantee everybody would go.
I love that. Nobody comes to Buffalo.
Except for football, yeah.
What I find funny is that you can go back just 20, 30 years ago, and there were players who were playing all year. You go back even further, the majority of players actually, they tried to play all year because that was...
Look at the W now.
Right. So
W.
There's a whole issue where the NBA has been able to carve out its own existence with its own rules, and I think that also has something to do with it. That unfortunately we don't get to sit in the room when they do the collective bargaining, because all of this is going to be used by both sides to script the narrative to make us, the fans, as sympathetic to each other's side as possible. But in reality, baseball players actually play literally year round. They get about 45 days off of not playing, right? Football players probably have it the longest, where they have a break, but even their scheduling has now been stretched out to where football is essentially a 9-month season. The NBA has stretched themselves out where we're literally playing basketball every month except for July. So, all of these leagues want this year-round access to media consumption because that's how they make their money. That's not going to change until both sides sit down and talk about it. We'll go to Ty. Ty, we got you. Then we'll let Mark respond. We'll hit up Napoleon and then Camber. Good morning, everybody.
Yo. It's just very unfortunate with this injury. I mean, we don't want anybody being injured in the NBA as much as, we have dislikes for certain NBA players. At the end of the day, we all want them to be healthy. We all want them to be successful. We all want them to get their bag at the end of the day. And if anybody remembers, EJ Liddell, he ended up actually tearing his ACL during a summer league game. This is just what happens. Now we have two rookies, obviously different scales of the spectrum. One is a second round pick. One's, number three pick, top three pick. But still, we got two rookies in this class, both out for the entire season. Both who are going to have to recover and now going to have to prove themselves in a very stacked NBA league. It's just unfortunate, man. And for like Thunder fans, this must be like the biggest, you know, punch to the gut, considering they were so hyped that they really went through garbage just for nothing. They had to watch Lindsey Water play basketball for 30 games just for nothing. It's unfortunate, man. Praying for him.
I question one rookie's impact. That's not the number one pick. Normally, after the number one pick, you get a couple of players who might be productive but not impactful. That's
Yeah.
why drafts like the LeBron and Carmelo draft are so rare, is because you got multiple impactful players. And I don't think Chet was going to be impactful this season. The question is he going to be in that small camp like Joel Embiid or Blake Griffin, where they were hurt, missed time, but actually came out possibly in a better situation? Mark, go ahead and respond. We'll hit up Napoleon and then Camber. Go ahead.
So I can remember in the late '90s, living in Atlanta, playing at Run and Shoot, and Jerry Stackhouse got into a fight with one of the players there, and he actually broke the guy's jaw. The guy fouled his nephew really hard. Stackhouse came behind him, punched him in the jaw, broke his jaw. The following week, the NBA issued a memo out to all players. You are not allowed to play in that specific gym anymore because of what happened, so on and so forth. We're going to kind of tie sew this up a little bit. If they're able to send out a memo to tell players where they're not allowed to play because Stackhouse did had a fight and broke somebody's jaw, imagine the impact. We're talking almost 30 years later, with this situation. You know what I'm saying? A guy breaks his foot on a slippery floor. Like I said, it was negligence. They had to stop the game and so forth. And I do get that, these young kids, they want to see Chet Holmgren play, and they want to see their local, I mean, not the local, but they want to see NBA players play in the summertime and so forth. But in reality, you are getting a chance to see these NBA players play, but they're in high school right now. Myself, I happen to be one of the trainers of a kid named Isaiah Collier, who's the number one player in the country. He plays in Atlanta, Georgia, and his games at Wheeler High School are packed out all the time. So it's not like people are don't have access to these elite players at a young age. They do. You know what I'm saying? The top players, especially in that Seattle area, those high school games are packed. So it's not like guys are like really missing out on anything and so forth. Yeah, it's not that serious. And to me, the best ticket you can have is your television set. I really think you have to protect your assets, with decisions like this, and I think it's very simple. You say, okay, if you guys want to run in the summertime, we'll do it at NBA facilities, and they can let people bring guests in. They can have Ballers Life or whatever come in and film and whatever they want to do, but it needs to be in NBA facilities because you guys have seen how those people run on the floor when a guy slips and falls and they're going down the court. Guys running on the floor with towels, trying to dry up wet spots and so forth. They do that for a reason. Did you have that situation going in Seattle? Probably not. You don't have that level of care because no one assumes or can forecast somebody getting hurt, which is really unfortunate. But they're not going to honor the Michael Jordan love of the game type contracts. They're not going to do that. And if they do it, it'll be league wide. It'll be very limited because, like I said,
it's more important for these guys, these teams, to protect their assets. And if the players' salaries are gonna double, like, understand something. A guy that's the 10th man on the bench right now will be making upwards of 15 to $20 million a game. If I'm paying that person that much money based
Not a,
on, the TV deal, I have to protect all assets. It only makes sense. And I'm a fan. So yes, I'd love to see these guys play, but I'm just saying.
the one thing, and a lot of people might not understand, is when you look at it from the business side, it is an easy decision. And I agree with and I also agree. Like, if I was a GM or a director of player personnel, every contract I had negotiated, I would ask literally the agent, how much does it cost to make sure not only is he not in a pro am, but he's not in one of the quiet runs that happen in the off season, because like there are games that they have that they play. There's been a couple players who've gotten hurt and have missed extended time. One player basically derailed his whole career just from a regular quiet game so that they could get working in the off season. And like Mark said, over the course of the last decade, teams have been reinvesting into their training facilities. Like, just down the street, the Indiana Pacers 4 years ago finished their state of the art, brand new training facility for the players, and they're already redoing it and adding more stuff. Because they are preparing for what Mark's saying is, basically these players are going to enter a different status where it's similar to football and baseball, where you're getting these 400, $500 million mega deals for 8 years, or probably seven, and the owners are going to say, hey, I'm compensating you to perform your job. And the sacrifice you make to earn this compensation is to make sure you are available to perform your job. But that's just strictly from the business side. We'll get into the fan side and what you guys think. Napoleon, then Camber. We'll go back to back. Camber pick it up after Napoleon. We got Bleacher Dave getting ready to come up. Logan the Foot is here. And Gandhi, if you want to say something, raise your hand so I know that you're ready to go.
Hey
Thank you.
Chris. Hey Chris, one thing. Remember that, like with the NBA, the length of their contracts can only be 4 to 5 years. So
Well, I mean,
that money they're getting is
I
gonna be
think
astronomical.
with the new CBA, they're going to extend that out to
Mm-mm.
be more like baseball, where it's 6 or 7.
Nah, the players aren't going for that. We already had those conversations. They want to keep it short, and then the
They
owners want to keep it short too, because the shelf life of some of these players. You think about it. You sign a veteran guy like Russell Westbrook to the contract you just signed him to. If I sign him for 8 years at that much money, now we're really stuck.
Well, so the way that you structure it would factor into that. Like, if you're getting a 7 or 8 year deal, you're structuring in outs after year four, right? So year four, it could be a mutual option, and if you want to terminate, you pay half the salary, right? And then the contract's terminated, and then every year it progresses, it gets lower and lower the cost for a buyout, and in that way, it ends the speculation and bickering back and forth when a player does say, "Hey, it's not working here. Let me go ahead and leave money on the table and leave," and that'll free up more player movement, I think, as well. That's just my personal opinion. Napoleon and Camber, go ahead.
So I get the business side. I see both sides, but the rubber's got to meet the road. This goes back to the '70s, where the quiet runs, the programs have been going on. You know, too oftentimes we try to reinvent the wheel. Everybody wants to complain about the product on the court. Oh, there's no more rivalries. There's no more of this. Some of these guys have been playing against or with each other since knee high to a grasshopper. This could have happened, So would the narrative have changed if they were at the Orlando Magic facility or if it was at a summer league? No, it wouldn't have. Now they're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. It would have happened it's inevitable that someone got hurt or is going to get hurt, and it's also unfortunate. Now, do you limit the amount of programs, or say, hey, if the NBA has found its way to commercialize and make its way into so much, then you partner up with the Drew League, the Seattle Pro-Am, Rutgers, so on and so forth, and you help put on these programs. But like Chris mentioned, the quiet runs, those are happening across the country, and oftentimes what the front offices don't want to talk about is they're at those games. So you can't double dip and say, oh well, go get this work in, let size up your competition, but then when you're hurt, then you want to throw your hands up and say, hey, well, if you wasn't out there, you can't have it both ways.
All right, Kimber,
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I feel like we've kind of beat this topic to death, but the one thing that I wanted to say is I do obviously recognize that you want to protect your assets. Yes, you're paying these guys a lot of money. Yes, they're there to put on a show. But I do think that, talking about like not allowing them to play pro-am, et cetera, becomes kind of a slippery slope, right? I mean, you have Paige Beckers who tore her ACL for the second time playing a pickup game. Like, do we also ban them from playing pickup games? Are they allowed to shoot in their backyards? Like, I just think it creates like a really slippery slope, and I don't love that. Like, injuries are going to happen, like the person before you was just saying. They're going to happen, and they may not happen that moment, they may not happen to that person, but you're going to have injuries, and that's kind of your burden to shoulder as owners, execs, NBA teams. Like, it's just going to happen, and I don't really think it's in the best interest of players, community, and fans to say, like, sorry, we're just going to limit you to just playing in the NBA season. We're not going to do any pro-am. You can't play pickup. You can't do anything. Ultimately, I just don't think that's like a good look. So that's all I wanted to share.
All right, and I know I get the slippery slope, but that's why I say that it's negotiated in, and there's a direct line of compensation, and then therefore it cannot be a slippery slope because everything is defined. Peace out, Danny. I hope you have a great Thursday. We'll go to pickup card game of up here to get his thoughts as somebody who's in the world of basketball, creating a business. He is actually also teaching the future scholars of this country about entrepreneurship. So I'm interested to hear his thoughts on what we've been discussing for the last 10 minutes. Good morning, She. How are you doing? And remember, everybody, the pickup card game, there's still some first editions left. $25 at slamgoods.com. If you haven't gotten it now, you better hurry up because once the first editions are gone, you're going to lose your chance on a pretty good investment. Go ahead, man. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Who Spaces. Thank you so much. I will be brief in my comments because I think a lot has been said, which I agree with. Number one, right? Injuries happen. Like Canvas said, we can't. It's tough to prevent injuries. It's more about how can we work with the people who are running these leagues to make sure players are safe. So the crossover pro league in Seattle, which Jamal Crawford runs, amazing league. Jamal Crawford does a lot for the community. One of the most sincere, kindest guys you'll meet, right? Because he had all these guys playing last weekend, the place got packed out, and so too many bodies in one gym. It got humid, the court got sweaty, right, and got wet. That's something which is unfortunate, but can be prevented. So I think it's more about how we work with different leagues to make sure that when players come and play, they are safe, and that they can entertain the fans and do what they come to do, which is kind of be part of the community, see people face to face, right? Let folks who can go to these expensive basketball games see them in person. So I am not a fan of trying to ban pro-am. I'm a fan of trying to help pro-am leagues find better spaces and be in a better spot to house NBA players when they come. I do think we're going towards a lockout in the NBA. I think it's a lot going on between this and then players like Durant trying to get traded. I think the NBA will be for sure in a lockout, so I think we should definitely embrace for that. So I am curious to know your thoughts, Chris, on how you see a lockout playing out in the NBA, and if you think it can be prevented at this point.
I've been saying we were going to have the proper term, a protracted negotiation. Um, the owners do not want to lock the players out. The owners, I believe, want to play a hand where the players walk away and strike. Um, this is going to be contentious to the point where it might actually require arbitration from a third party, either of a agreed upon third party, or even if you haven't been paying attention to the news, there have been federal mediators who've been basically working double time across the country with labor disputes. And if the league and the players wanted to avail themselves of that, there's that possibility. And some of these have gotten so contentious, whereas even Congress may have to be involved. That is the extreme. Like it would have to be so bad, and I doubt that ever happens. But I do see a prolonged, contract negotiation that could lead into a lockout or a strike, and a lot of it is going to be centered around player empowerment. The owners, the overwhelming majority of them, are extremely anti-player empowerment. They believe that they've lost a position within the business structure and hierarchy. And if you are a manager or if you've ever owned a business, and you've had employees and you feel as though the employees believe that they have worked their way up to equal status with you, the employer, that is a combination of an ego and a um, hierarchical desire, and it's going to cause a problem. And I think what we'll see is much like the LIV league, we might see the rebirth of players coming together, talking about how once again can we make our own league, right? This is something that's happened pretty much regularly on a cycle within the history of the NBA, dating back to the 60s and 70s. Like we had the ABA, which, by the way, you should check out the previous show that Malika Walker did on the Rewind when she talked about the ABA, right? Like the NBA doesn't exist the way it does without it. But the problem is we're at the same point now in our current time that they were historically back then, and that is not good because it can be long. We could miss a season. It could be 99 all over again with a 45 to 50 game season, and we have to kind of be prepared for that. It's crazy.
There's too much money on the table. Yeah, this one's going to be, I think this one's going to be rough. I heard that two things. I heard that possibly, because there's so much money on the table, like they're just going to, like, it's not going to be as bad as people think it is. But part of me think yeah, we could be really missing a lot of the season.
All right, I want to get Gandhi up here, then Logan the Foot, and Bleacher Dave. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making your pre-Friday part of Hoop Spaces. We're appreciative. The 2011 lockout began in July and ended in December. So you're talking 5 months. This one would be way worse than that. Gandhi, go ahead. Yeah.
Give him the horns.
Well, he's open. He's just not saying anything.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
So whoever said that thing about the TV deal was absolutely correct. With NBA players now entering soccer money, there's going to be dudes getting 400, 500. It's going to be hard for owners to be able to let them play in pro-am games. So I don't know how they're going to work it out, but they've got to come to some sort of agreement where the NBA controls it, but it's advertised by pro-am. That's all I've got to say.
All right, appreciate it, man.
What do you think about that with NBA and pro-am coming together? Just a quick question.
I don't think the NBA would do it because it would create a liability issue that would require and extra money. And the
I mean,
NBA.
it's kind of happening now. I mean, like the Drew League is being broadcast on the NBA app, so there's ways in which the NBA is
True.
kind of like
They,
trying to work with these leagues,
I,
but
But
it's not
yeah,
as formal as what we think it should be
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
that's
they're
a that's,
open to it, and I think with the players playing, I think someone mentioned about it's just going to be the elite guys. I think they're right. It's going to be guys who are elite, guys like Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes. Those guys are going to end up being untouchable. They're probably never going to be, well, might not be able to play in pro-am games. But
But you're opening up a can of
yeah,
worms
that's another
because
thing. But then I was going to say bench players are also important. They're also going to be making 25, 30 mil. So then, you know,
again, it's going to be handled through the collective bargaining
yeah,
approach. Which is why I'm saying like all of this star player, not star player,
yeah, it
isn't
doesn't
going
work. Yeah,
because it's going to be across the board. Or it's not going to be at all.
yeah.
well,
That
Chris, we didn't even
Yeah,
bring
you're right.
this
It's
up.
all or nothing, to be honest.
What about the Olympics? Because Paul George, no one has brought that up
the
because that
the, the,
is essentially
the United
a
States basketball and the Olympics has an agreement and deal with the NBA.
Yeah, but that's
These
highly
programs-
professional. Yeah,
no, but the reason I bring it up is because again,
yeah.
it's essentially a glorified pro am. Like when you break it down, and
no,
No.
I
no
don't know about that.
it
no
is not a glorified pro
I
am.
don't know about
because
that.
think about it. Think about
Explain
it.
it. Actually,
Don't
well,
do
let him
no,
explain. Let him explain.
no, because this is
But
an ad nauseum argument. Like
No,
we're
Chris,
not.
but
it's
It,
actually,
not.
yeah, no, no.
it
There's
is
no way you can
purely
explain a
ad.
gold medal.
No,
No, no.
no,
There's
no,
no way you
no,
can inflate a gold medal
no.
being.
What I'm saying was when Paul George got hurt, was he or was he not the face of a franchise?
Yes.
He
What is
Was
was.
he?
the
Was
point?
he? Or because we had Kevin Durant, who
What's your point with Paul
I'm
George?
Chris. I'm getting there. I'm
You
getting there.
don't need to add another player. Paul George's injury is enough. What is your point? Use
We were
Paul George.
well. The other one ties into what I'm saying, Chris. Just let because we had Kevin Durant who left and said I'm not going to finish the season. I'm going to sit out, but was gung ho and ready to play for it in the Olympics. The reason I'm bringing those two specific up is because again, you will take away and say, "Oh, well, you could get hurt." And yes, it is an honor to play for your country, but those were still you still had amateur players or not people who made it to the league. It's a bigger
Okay,
stage for
so
pro am,
so this
and
is
those
why,
were two marquee injuries.
this is why you're wrong.
That
Okay,
is not.
this is why you're wrong. In '88, U.S. lost to the Soviets. Okay, they could only use college players. That was it. The Olympic Committee or the U.S. Olympic Committee went to USA Basketball and
Chris,
said,
I understand that. I know that.
"So
That's
then
not
why are you bringing this
that
up?
no
They made
because the stat
an
that's not what I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the stature of the player and where they got hurt. I understand where we're going two separate ways.
No,
You went
that's
east,
why
I went west.
it's ad nauseum because your argument has nothing to do with the principle. The principle is they had an agreement between USA Basketball and the NBA.
Thank you.
That is the
Yeah.
principle. That is what we are
Yeah.
arguing.
Like and
You
like
are
you
just
said
over here
before.
saying PG got hurt.
Yeah, and like Chris said, there is no agreement between pro am and NBA, but there is one between NBA and Olympics. So U.S. basketball. Sorry.
And by the way, it actually took FIBA's director to
Yeah,
get
there's another even bigger governing body. FIBA
yeah.
is literally the head of basketball as well.
So,
So I don't
so
see how those two
it,
connect.
it took the United States to be embarrassed.
Yep.
It took a European basically ran entity to
Yep.
say, hey, we need parity in the Olympics because we
Yep.
know that the US has the best basketball players. Like, bring
Yep.
them. And then they made an agreement where the teams are being compensated for basically the players being on loan as if this was the EPL.
Yep.
And then there's also insurance. So when Paul George got hurt, you know what Simon, the owner of the Pacers, paid? Zero. He
Yep.
was compensated for him leaving. He didn't pay for any of the rehab. He was reimbursed. And there you go. That's why they're able to do it. The league
Yep.
doesn't have these agreements with the pro-ams. Could
Yep.
they?
That's
Absolutely.
that
Then
was
it
that
cost-
was a crazy argument. I don't know where he was going with that one.
Oh, I knew
But
where it was going. That's why I was trying to stop it.
yeah, I let him speak. But
Logan,
yeah, absolutely. I think we might be in the last days of seeing players in pro-ams. Maybe that was the last time. So
nah,
who knows?
I don't think so until they get it in the CBA. I want
Yeah,
Logan.
they've got to get something in writing and something legally binding, and then we'll see what goes on. But
I,
I'm not
thanks for
buying
letting
it.
me speak,
I
man.
got you. I got you after Logan Bleacher. We got Logan the Foot. We got Bleacher Dave. We got Jose from 77 Spaces. It's a frisky morning talking pro-am or no pro-am. I'm going to get a poll up. It's going to be, are you pro-am? Yes or no? All right. Logan, go ahead.
All right, what's up, y'all? What's up, Chris? First of all, I want to say respect to your W grind, NBA offseason grind. I know it's not easy, but you're still delivering me shows every day, almost every day. Um,
Thank you.
I just want to say for these pro-am leagues, like I don't see how you can regulate that. Like these pro-am games are it's a pickup run. Like you go to these games, it's not, they're not really strapping up like that. They're not, playing super physical. It's a pickup game. So are you gonna stop every pickup game these guys do? Like you're not gonna stop that. Like the Bulls players got together this summer. They played 5v5 for a few days. Like are you gonna prevent that from happening? Guys get hurt in individual workouts. They get hurt with weightlifting. Like you can't just. The only way to stop it is put them in a bubble and lock them in a room. Like you can't. You're not gonna stop these guys from hooping. You're just not. And especially with these pro-am leagues growing, because I feel like it's growing in popularity every year. You get more and more bigger names. NBA streaming them now, and I see it growing more and more. I don't see it going anywhere. So I don't think you're going to see players drop out of these at all. Especially with better players, players want to play against better players. So it's only going to grow. And one more thing. So I was at the Chicago Pro-Am League, the Shy League, over the weekend, and it was at UIC, and really great facility, bunch of seats, almost professional-like atmosphere. So it was good show, good games, semifinal matchup. But then we went back home. We're watching the crossover league, and they're in this I don't know where they played, but it looked like a high school gym. All these dudes are hot. I obviously know what happened, and I just feel like with it growing, I don't see why they can't get better venues, make it more professional, and then kind of prevent these things from happening. Even at the Shy League I was at, someone got hurt. A girl went down in the girls' game, and me and my friends like, "Is there a trainer somewhere?" And we didn't really see one run out. They kind of brought her to the back. I think maybe they had one in the back, but I think as they grow, we can get more professional trainers and staff and venues to prevent some of these things and to just make them, better for
So,
everybody. I think.
so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what the owners are gonna say. You expect me to pay for that? Because right now, like the cool thing about the pro-ams is that they are accessible and affordable because they don't hire a full-time training staff, nor do they necessarily are put in the most pristine and brand new, venues.
I get that, but it was at UIC, the Chicago one, and that was a way better venue, way better than whatever they were at for the Jamal Crawford thing. I don't see why they can't do something like that. Just go to a little, like a D2 college where they got a better facility. I don't see why they can't do that as opposed to the high school venue.
The reason why they chose UIC is it's a public university. If you put it in a private, it restricts access. If you put it in public, you can also have a better working relationship with that university. So, like, you can get support from the student body. You get more word out. You get higher visibility. More people come because the whole point of a pro-am is to get people in the gym to see the pro-am, right? Like that's the real key here. Is the pro-am is as what Jason was saying is the direct link between the average fan and the players they can't afford to see. And like it's been here, it's always going to be here. You're not going to be able to take it away. If you take it away by the name Pro-Am, they're just going to go back to the quiet runs that they were doing in the 70s and 80s. So, like, my whole thing, and it's a long roundabout here way to get here, is this proves the point that there needs to be either expansion or a full-fledged minor league for the NBA. That's what I think might be the middle ground here, where we can create a bridge between a pro-am where you can get the players who are retired and then those who are still active are able to get the competition that they need, and like league sanctioned practices, which should be, essentially scrimmages and a controlled environment that you can pay, charge a lower fee for. So instead of your LA Lakers game being 437 because it's a practice scrimmage with the Lakers, who are really the Lakers versus a team that's owned by the Lakers, we're only going to charge you $20. Like, there are so many avenues of creativity to solve this problem. My issue is that nobody wants to solve the problem because everybody wants what they want and they don't want to compromise. Bleacher Dave, let me get you in here, man. How you doing? What's your thoughts?
Hey, good morning, Chris. Good morning, fam. How's everybody this morning?
Doing good.
Good to hear it, man. Couple of things. I'm interested. I'll start. I want to talk, of course, about the pro-ams and the injuries, but you veered into a topic about the lockout, and I've heard some people talking about that over the last couple of days, and I'm struggling to try and understand what the issues are. I mean, with team valuations shooting through the roof, with league-wide basketball revenues shooting through the roof, with both players and owners having made so much more money and poised to make so much more money with this talk of all these new multi-platform streaming TV revenues, it was hard for me to see how either side is going to say, no, I don't want that extra money. And then, consider that, the sums now sound astronomical, but relative to basketball revenues, the owners, I was reading this yesterday, went from 57% of the revenues in before the '06 CBA, I think, down to where they're at now, basically 50-50. And is they're going to continue to split, 50-50 forward in the next deal. I don't see, even though we're shocked by the size of the individual contracts, relative to how much they're making, there's really no change. So I don't really see any reason why either side is going to want to kill the goose that's laying them both these golden eggs and exploding this industry. But I'll wait I'll wait to hear after that, after we talk about this pro-am stuff. And then connected to that, shout out to Rick Barry, who, as I understand, is the first player to ever sit out a season, so that he was able to end his contract and change teams and go from the Golden State Warriors to the Oakland Oaks. I think that was, or it might have been from him to Oakland Oaks to the Virginia Squires. So I'm waiting for somebody to say, this is because Chet Holmgren's body. Oh, everybody's going to dig. Oh, he's too skinny. He's going to get hurt. He can't play in this league at this weight. So I'm kind of waiting for them folks to chime in with that, because I'm not convinced that that's why.
They're mostly not going to be on this stage in the room because, like, they don't like. There's no argument there. Like, he's a kid. People don't stop growing until they're in their mid-20s. Like,
yeah, I've been hearing, the dudes on the regular big media, before he got drafted, or like, he's too, I was hearing Eddie Johnson talking about he's too skinny, he can't play in this league, he's gonna be hurt, la la la. So I'm gonna hear him as soon as he's on the radio saying, I told you so, I told you so. Injury is part of the game. One of the things, though, and this is just maybe my perception, is it seems this offseason you got a lot of bigger names playing in pro-ams than I remember before. But, we've always had these pro-ams. UCLA had the run at the men's gym there for decades, since when Magic was leading them games. I think they're probably still playing up there. These runs are always going to happen. You're going to have NBA players looking for camaraderie and competition in the offseason. And I think somebody made a really good point. Now that the league is starting um, to broadcast, to stream these games, they've got an interest, I think, in continuing to see this pro-am format grow around the country. And then, as it has been said, you are growing the league. You are getting people who aren't getting to an NBA game able to go out and actually see some NBA players, which is different than, seeing a minor league or some G League, level talent. So I think there is a place in the game, and it's in the interest of the industry to see these programs continue to grow and prosper and spread out, through the league. But I think there is something to be said about just some basic sort of safety things. And if the league is going to continue to stream these things, then perhaps there's a revenue stream, for the leagues to be able to go, hire folks to mop the floor and, have some additional, health and safety infrastructure there, for these players who are willing to go there. One thing that I will be, I was surprised to see LeBron playing in the Drew League, frankly, and will be, surprised to see if we continue to see the top players come out to the pro-ams. But, new draft picks who are getting ready to come into the league, first year, second year players, kind of the caliber of player that we see in the summer league. I think there's a place for them in the development of their game, and as well as the building of their brands with the fan base to come out and play in these pro-am games.
Oh yeah, that building the brand point is spot on. Look, the streaming aspect is one thing. The league has zero liability. It's just say they went up and literally said, "Hey, want us to stream it?" Like that's literally what happened, guys. That is what happened, and they said yes, and then it grew, and like understand that you're seeing these players, as Dave said, these higher level caliber players. They're in here because this is them flexing in preparedness of the protracted contract labor negotiations, right? Because what they're saying is we generate when we play outside of the NBA. Like imagine if we just woke up and said, "Hey, Kyrie, let's get three dudes and take out all comers in Dallas." Like you don't think the city of Dallas flocks to where this is? It'd be like a moving Rucker Park meets the Harlem Globetrotters with Hall of Fame NBA talent.
What a big risk to the players and their career earning potential to play outside of that guaranteed contract in such taking on that risk to themselves of playing that game like Dallas.
Not if they were able to create their own league. Just like I said earlier, I think maybe you might have just got up here. Look what's happening in golf hoop spaces. Ryan brought it up yesterday. If it makes money, you'll find money behind it to make it happen.
Yeah, and
There's some
honestly,
big questions about the
I'm not a big
financial
fan of this money
viability of
talk.
that live league.
I mean, and I think the guys and women who play basketball love the game. And so someone playing a pickup game or a pro-am game is because they want to play basketball, right? So if we're trying to keep people from playing basketball, which is what they do and how they got here, then this feels I mean, it feels it's giving me too many controlling vibes. Like you have to do X, Y, and Z because you're being paid this much, right? No, these people love basketball. Let them play basketball. Let's find ways to help them play basketball in safe situations. That's all it is, right? But we can't stop folks from playing basketball. That's what they do.
All right, I feel you. And someone who plays basketball whenever he can is Rico Suave, one of the hosts of 77 Spaces. If you need some basketball talk and you want to follow some Mavs fans for life, and they really need to change that hashtag, shoot Jose here and follow Rico Suave. Paradox Killer 23 is the handle. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm good, man. We had an amazing show with Reese yesterday, one half of the Mavs Outsiders podcast. We had a great interview, Chris, and like I said yesterday, we can't wait to have you on because our interviews have been like crazy dope. Like I was gonna utilize another word, but I'm trying to better censor myself for this platform. But uh yeah, yesterday was just tremendous. It was phenomenal. But I'll say some things about the Dallas Wings because I did watch that game yesterday. They fought hard. First two quarters, they looked real good. They were going up against the grain. Shots were falling for them. And then the second half, the momentum completely shifted. I felt like a lot of players were settling for contested shots just because that's how intense the defense of the Kinetic Suns were playing on the Dallas Wings as soon as they touched the ball. Like, the point of the attack from the Kinetic Sun was phenomenal. I mean, when you could keep a team from scoring 4 to 5 minutes straight, and that's just impressive basketball, like being played, impressive defense being played. So shout out to Kinetic Sun, and if I was Chris, could you give some air horns for the Dallas Wings? Because I feel like they fought hard, and they appreciate you. Like, game two was just sensational, and to come back home, do those first two quarters and give it all they got. I'm proud of them. Like, casual women NBA fan, but I'm proud of the Dallas Wings for what they went out and did yesterday. So on to this Chet homegrown. Prayers up for Chet. I hope he comes back better, stronger, healthy next off season, because he was definitely somebody that I was going to try to tune in a lot to the OKC, just seeing their team with Chet, Giddy, and Shy. Like, man, that would have been a fun, phenomenal team just to tune in on a not daily, but casual basis. I really would love to see that. But, people have already come up here and stated players are going to play regardless. Like, as much as people worry about Luca's, like, ball usage and everything like that, that man is literally going to play a game later on today in the Eurobasket tournament. And there there's just a thing that you can't really tell people what they can and cannot do. Contracts aside, I mean, these players love the game. They love to play basketball. They're gonna find a way to do it somehow, some way. So, I mean, like, yes, it's unfortunate Chet went down, but I mean, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Klay Thompson play a pickup game and tear his Achilles? Am I correct on that, Chris?
I think he re-injured.
That's
The
correct. That's how he
Yeah.
got that
So
Achilles.
like these players, the like Klay Thompson is pivotal to the Golden State Warriors, and Chet is a second round pick. Who, I mean, not second round pick. I keep saying that, a second pick in the first round of the draft. I mean, it's unfortunate. Injuries are just gonna happen, and sure, they should have some of these gyms better conditioned for NBA players to actually go out there and play. But I do not want to take the privilege or the ability for the consumer who's not able to afford $100 and something ticket just to go to an NBA game just to watch LeBron James or Luca or Giannis or whoever the case may be. I mean, you got to be fair and reasonable to the consumer as well, because we're the ones buying the product. Like, if I have the ability to see a NBA player play at my local park, you bet your ass I'm going to be there. I'm going to support, and I'm going to hope that they put on their best performance. I mean, even if they're like loosely passing the ball, but whenever they score, you're like, damn, that's look at the arc of their shot. Look how high they jump. I mean, you just get star days. You get infatuated because you see these guys on the TV screen, and you're finally able to see them up close and personal. So I don't think it's fair to be completely pro am, but I think you do have to accommodate these players better if they go to a local gym. So it's already been rehashed. I just wanted to give my input. I appreciate you, Chris. We definitely got to get you on 77 Spaces, but thank you for allowing me to come up on stage.
Yeah, always, man. Appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to being on there to be interviewed. I kind of worried about the questions I'm going to get answered. I'm not going to lie. We got Prezi Corleone. If you don't know, that's your fault. Dude is good at what he does. What's up, Prez? How you doing? You got the last word in of the show, and we'll get into last takes, man. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I was in the audience just listening. I'm doing a little cleaning, and I don't. I feel like at least one person would have came up with this take that I'm about to put out there, and nobody did. I'm gonna go on record saying there's nothing they could do about this, bro. CBA, no CBA. There's nothing they could do about this, right? It's too wide of a range to try to regulate. Because if they say, okay, no programs, right, then what do they do about the C Brickley runs, right? This is not anything. I mean, I get it. LeBron got really involved this year, and so it made some people who aren't as and this, whether you're a LeBron fan or not, we know who the superstar he is. So some people who aren't really privy to this pro-am thing every summer tuned in this year, right? There's nothing new about it though. Like Chet is the shortest tenured basketball player to play in a pro-am this year, right? And he's the one that got injured. So it's not like, I mean, I get what the firestorm is about because, we all need things to talk about. And I'm not just talking about in this room. I'm talking about on Twitter, on these sports shows or whatever, right? But I mean, I think we're going a little too crazy about it. It's sad, but we've watched it happen before. We watched it happen with, and in recent years, we watched it happen with two players on the 76ers. We watched it happen with Blake. Sometimes, things happen. He's gonna miss his rookie season. I mean, I think it would have been different. This conversation is the conversation that would have been or should have been happening had it been let's not even put LeBron in there. Let's put a rising star in there, like a Trey Young. He did two of them this summer, or Murray, or whatever the case may be. But I don't think it's a big deal. I think, I don't think the league will make a league wide change because of, and not saying that Chet is a big rookie. A lot of us wanted to see. I wanted to draft him. I believed in him, right? I wanted to draft him in my fantasy basketball this year. So it's sad. I didn't want to see it happen or nothing, but I really don't think anything is going to change based on this. Because again, what do? You say, okay, only pro-ams? What if they just go back to C Brickley and do the runs that they were doing there? Are they going to stop that too? I mean, it's sad, and I think we'll talk about it for a little bit, but I don't think anything will change.
Yeah, I feel you. What I say is, imagine if this was Jalen Brunson, right? If Jalen Brunson had gotten hurt and we woke up today with the news that Jalen Brunson was to miss an entire season, like three things would be happening. Jalen Brunson would be slandered and be made fun of. The New York Knicks would be slandered and made fun of. And then Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks would be slandered together and made fun of together. We wouldn't be having this conversation of no pro-ams. Like, we're having this conversation of no pro-ams because it's a top draft pick who everybody said was going to get hurt, and he got hurt. So what happened? The media is going to sensationalize it. Like, that's why I'm saying the only way that I see in a business sense is to give direct compensation. If you're not going to do it, here's your compensation. If you're found out that you're doing it anyway, we take away the compensation and then there's a penalty. And then you have to just work on the honor system, right? Like, that's all it is. And I personally, I empathize with these players because I understand what it's like to have something that you love to do being taken away from you. So like I totally get that too. And you're right, Prez. Like if they manage to outlaw pro-ams, they're just gonna be in District Heights. They're just gonna drive to B more. They're just gonna hit up East Side on Philly. They're just gonna go to New York. They'll be in Dallas, they'll be in Miami, they'll be in LA, and they'll just play in Project Gym. Just like they've been doing for years. Like that's the big issue is to me the unfairness of the media that is going to harp on this for the clicks because we are in the middle of the off season. And with that, we're getting ready for final take. So if you do have a final take that you want to share, raise your hand. Now's the time to come on up. I want to get some news and notes out here. Amani Bates Do you remember him? I do, because like for 2 years, nobody could talk about anything except for Imani Bates. Well, he is now officially transferring from Memphis. He is heading back home to Ypsilanti, Michigan, and he will be an Eagle playing for the University of Eastern Michigan. The Wolves hired Jonathan Wallace as director of player personnel and GM of the G League team. This guy is going to be an NBA GM. It is only a matter of when, not a matter of if. If you don't know, this is not the Syracuse John Wallace. This is a different John Wallace. Uh, G League champ, European champ. He's been a rising star in the front office for like the last 3 years. I'm telling you, if you are on a fan of a team who's getting ready to enter a rebuilding process, Charlotte, in a couple of years, that's a hire you might want to make. Just saying. Taco Falls has a 1 year deal in the Chinese Basketball League with the Jean Long team. The Lakers are not interested in trading for Julius Randle. There is rumors, though, that they are looking at bringing back Dennis Schroeder, and they are finalizing a deal to acquire Patrick Beverly for Taylor Horton Tucker and Stanley Johnson. And, there's your news and notes. All right. Final takes of the day. Camber, you're up. Yep, got the horn on that one. Danny.
I don't want the horn. So, interesting conversation. We're all not going to agree on the pro am. Um, we're not going to all agree on what's going to happen with it in the future. We don't know if they're going to be a lockout. We're all speculating, but all I want to say is a lot of money on the table, and people are going to do what's best for their pockets. Not everybody's LeBron, Steph, Clay, whoever's up there in the high tier. They're gonna make a deal. It may not be the best deal for everybody, but they're gonna work some tentative deal. I remember '99, and I remember what happened after that. The tickets were cheap. They were trying to get people to come back. It
my,
worked. I went to a couple of them games at Detroit.
my,
Believe me, $10 tickets to sit low. Hey,
my first in-person game
yep.
of seats of note was right after that lockout.
Yep. So I don't know if they want that to happen again, but hey, it's too much money sitting on the table. They gonna figure it out. They all want to eat. A lot of these people support a lot of other people other than themselves. Not everybody's mama's house is paid off. Okay. So that's all I got.
Uh, yeah, not everybody's mom's house is paid off. We got to change that. Malika Walker, ladies and gentlemen, phenomenal host for the Rewind as well as the WNBA coverage for the Hoopstresses. Final thoughts today.
Yeah, Danny, I agree with what you just said. We're just speculating on a lockout. Part of me feels like they're not going to want to give up them. I don't. Part of me feels like there's not going to be one because of the money involved. They're going to figure it out. Second, I mean, pro-ams, I don't think they can regulate it. I agree with what Prezi was saying. They can't regulate that. Um, so I think it's going to be status quo. So we'll see. And WNBA playoffs start, second round starts on Sunday. Um, so check them out. Top four seeds are in the playoffs. So looking forward to these games. And yeah, that's about. And LeBron, I love Prezi. I know that you love LeBron, but he put up a pro, like supporting Russell Westbrook tweet responding to one of his boys. So the streets are saying that's LeBron putting on his GM hat to try to pump up Russell Westbrook's value. But I have nothing else to say other than gossip because this is all we have in the NBA at this time is the gossip around what's going on with the Lakers since the Nets are pretty much settled. So let's
Oh,
go.
wait, you didn't know? Tony Jones of The Athletic this morning, Malika Walker, has drugged the Nets into the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes?
There can't, because we got Ben Simmons. We can't have Donovan. Why would we be in it?
Why not trade Ben Simmons?
No.
Malika Walker's like, I'm not doing this. I'm done with the Nets. I just want
No,
to.
we're settled. It's like I was curious. So we have
Are
nothing
you
else. So
though?
I appreciate LeBron for his tweet, because now their rooms, they're going to be open talking about LeBron's tweet and him being the GM, and that'll be the focal point of a space or some clubhouse rooms.
They
I'm just going to chill and work and
I
vibe to some music.
I can hear them yelling at each other right now. Saint from Nets Kingdom is in the building, and he also does not want the Nets dragged into the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes. He just wants his team to play as well. So if you know a Nets fan, shout out Warren from day one. Give them, some dap. They need some help, man. It's been a long off season for them. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming through, and I want to leave on a pretty cool note in my mind. Udonis Haslam's going to have his jersey retired, and I'm all for it. And like I am 100% all for it. And I'm not going to lie, I think I would even make a case for Udonis Haslam for the Basketball Hall of Fame as well, because I think what we're seeing with UD after he retires after his 20th season, we're never gonna see it again. Like maybe LeBron, but not with one team. Think about that. If you watch any other sport, right? Name me the players that did what UD has done. And I think that deserves recognition. So he won't get in by the vote, but hopefully, once he's eligible for the veteran commission that they have, he can get in for contributions to the game. That's just me. All right. See you
I'm
tomorrow.
happy you put that in at the end because you had me lost for a minute, but
Well,
you
yeah.
cleaned it up. You cleaned it up.
Well, I mean, I wanted a little bit of sensationalism, right? Like, I wanted people to be like, wait, did he just say Udonis Haslam for the Hall of Fame? I sure did. I absolutely did. Just like Otis Thorpe. He should be in there too. No lie. Where's the lie? I don't see one. All right. If I
Before you close out, we do need a future space on players who are not making arguments for players that are not in the Hall of Fame. And having a chat about, because you and this Otis Thorpe agenda, what are some others? Like, let's talk about it.
Robert Ory should be in through the vet commission as well. Because again, like name me, like I praise Jamal Crawford. I praise Lou Williams. I praise Vinnie Johnson from the Pistons for being the ultimate sixth man. What was Robert Ory but an ultimate championship sixth man? And yet they just want to say, oh, it's because he played for the Spurs and the Lakers. Like they hired him to do a job. He did the job and won. Like you can't. You see what I mean? Like anyway. Otis Thorpe, Robert Ory, Chris Webber got in. I wanted him in because if you add what he did in terms of culture, Fab Five, I thought he should be in. He finally got in. Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. Like that's another one. And Rasheed Wallace. Like that whole Pistons starting five almost would get in just because they were probably the last team to do it antithetical to what we understand of the game of basketball. So there you go. There's a list. We can keep talking about this for hours. So that's a great idea, Malika. Thank you. All right. Final shout outs down below. There's some people that you should follow. Mr. Anthony in the Bad Takers. He's in the building. You should follow him for your Miami Heat coverage. 5 Reasons Sports. And unfortunately, there might be some Dolphin talk. Like, it boggles my mind that they still chose a Dolphin as a mascot for a professional football team. The Cortland Christian is in the building. That's our man DC, diehard Lakers fan. He's a sports reporter. He also is getting off of the grind of recruiting, so make sure you check him out. 30 and Dubs, TJ, Nikki Face, Justin Padden, Kent. Thank you guys for popping in all the time. So much more to say what's up to. I ran out of time. All right, I'm gonna hit this button. And yeah, I'm thinking of a 3-day. What do you think, Malika?
What do I think about what?
A 3-day. I
A
like.
three? I'm missing why you're saying a 3 days. My
Well, I'm
point.
trying to figure out. Do I want to do a show tomorrow or take off tomorrow? Do I want to do one on Monday or
Free day, free day. You know, like Monday we'll have WNBA playoff games, and we can talk about this because I think it's more than just that statement that you just made. I think we should really talk about players that should be in the Hall of Fame and are not there. Because there are players that got in that I'm like, for real, they got in. So I think that that'll be, think about another topic we could talk about besides the WNBA playoffs. Makes sense. And we can promote Jeff Pearlman Monday, talking about Kobe and Shaq on Wednesday with me. We can
Look
promote
at
that
that.
too.
Hey, everybody, give Malika a round of applause. That's how you do it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you plug your show. All right, 3-day. We will be back Monday, and you will hear us talk about Jeff Pearlman every 10 minutes until we get like 50 people saying they're going to show up. You're going to hear me say Jeff Pearlman every 10 minutes. I like that idea. WNBA playoffs round 2 kicks off Sunday. Talk to you then. Peace out.
Both games. So, yep, see y'all Monday. Later.
But I already knew it was
If you're wondering why the "I Told You So" song is playing in the background for the closing music, is because I told you so. What did I tell you so about? Tune in Monday morning at 10 a.m. when we talk about Jeff Pearlman. Peace out, everybody.